What's up, guys? I've talked a lot in the past about Salmon Roe, and I've told you guys where to get it, and this is just a brief update on the Salmon Roe. So yeah, Salmon Roe is arguably the healthiest food on the planet. It has all the fat-soluble vitamins, it's nutritionally complete, it has tons of omega-3 fatty acids, cholesterol, everything you need to be optimally healthy. Now, I told you guys, a lot of you guys, to buy Salmon Roe from Loki Fish, and yeah, I mean, Salmon Roe is newly infested with some roundworms and in some cases tapeworms, but you will be never sold Salmon Roe that has tapeworms in it because they're very large and obvious, though you might find nematodes, roundworms, in your Salmon Roe. So today I'm going to go through some Salmon Roe and show you guys how I separate it, and we're also going to just talk about it like I have in my past few videos. So here I have some already sifted Salmon Roe, and you know, a lot, like some eggs broke up, so there's a lot of liquid in here too, but this is pretty well broken up, you know, enough that I could eat it by the spoonful. I mean, I didn't completely separate all the eggs, but most of the membrane is gone here. And here is another salmon skein. So I went through about 8 skeins right now, and I didn't find any worms, which of course is a good thing, but not for the purpose of this video necessarily. So these worms are very hard to see, and it's also very difficult to tell the difference between just connective tissue in this Salmon Roe versus actual worm. So what I do here is I scrape the eggs out of the membrane, like so. I hold the membrane, I pull it back, I take a knife, and I scrape the eggs. And it's okay if I take some of the membrane with the eggs. All I'm doing is looking to see if I see any translucent, maybe several millimeter thick roundworms. You know, some of these bunches, like, I'll throw out because I mostly want just separated eggs. And again, this is not, these salmon skeins have been frozen. So even if I find a worm, it's going to be dead already. It's just more for my sanity's sake, and because, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating dead roundworms. You're never going to get sick from them. It's just more protein. But just to, like, see the source I'm eating, and, you know, who knows if they, like, how can I be 100% sure if they were deep frozen unless I freeze it myself, you know? So it's just for sake of mind, and also I have to do this anyway to eat it. I have to separate it from the membrane, so might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Prep it as well as check for worms. So the reason there's a puddle of red here is because I'm bursting some of these eggs as I'm scraping them. There's no actual, like, fluid. There's no fluid in these skeins, it's just eggs. But the eggs do have a very rich liquid inside of them, which ends up looking like that. So there's nothing in there that we didn't want to be there. So now what I do with this is, like, I'll take this and I'll portion it out and refreeze it. Just so I know, you know, it's safe to eat, it's good to go. If I'm eating a lot of it, sometimes I'll just leave it in my fridge for a week or so and eat it like that. So, you know, Salmon Roe is my main source of omega-3 fatty acids. I mean, I could eat brain tissue, but for me, Salmon Roe is very easy. It's high in all the vitamins, and for me, it's literally like my supplement. It's what I eat every day to not have to worry about other aspects of my diet. I don't worry about eating liver or the quality of certain foods I'm eating. You know, for me, eating this wild Alaskan Salmon Roe is just like, okay, I eat this, I'm healthy. That's the way I look at it. Like, I don't have to worry about anything else. In regards to how this tastes, the best way to describe it would be the combination of like a salmon fillet and an egg yolk. It's very rich. It has that, like, cholesterol richness you get from an egg yolk, but it also has that salmon flavor. And depending on the age of the fish and what it was eating, the eggs can either tend to have more of like a nutty, sweet flavor, or they can have like an iodine, briny sea flavor. But all in all, it's a very enjoyable food. You don't have to add salt to it. Just on its own, it's, I think, up there in food palatability. Like my ranking of food palatability is like Norwegian mackerel, bone marrow, salmon roe. It's just one of those. I don't want to rank things, but it's included in the list of the most naturally palatable foods there are, in the sense that you take the food right out of nature, and without doing anything to it, it's delicious in its raw state. So unfortunately, it is like February now, and salmon season isn't until, well, July, I believe, and they usually run out towards the end of the year. So if you're looking for this stuff, it might be a little difficult to find, as in the Skeins, but there's always plenty of places selling salmon caviar, and it's pretty affordable, although it is salted and sometimes canned. But for me, this is the alternative of not having to buy brain, not having to buy liver, not having to do all of those things, although I still do those things. For me, this is just a little quickie of like, okay, eat this and don't have to do too much food prep. Or, you know, since I fast a lot, you know, if I go a couple days without eating, and I want a quick meal, I just have like a quarter pound of this, and I have plenty of calories and plenty of energy and plenty of vitamins to keep myself going. I figured I'd show you guys this too. So I just take a sheet of plastic wrap. I take my salmon roe. I put it in the middle of the plastic wrap. Then I just fold it nicely. You know, like maybe make a square here. Fold in the sides. And fold it over gently. And then I have a nice square, a few nice squares of salmon roe. You know, 6 squares of salmon roe here, so I have maybe a week's worth of salmon roe. I throw this in the freezer, and I just take them out the night before every day, or even a couple hours before I want to eat them, and I just let them thaw out at room temperature or in some hot water.